All right, guys. Today I want to talk to you guys a little bit about the philosophy and the client flow that actually built my business. Because most people think that all you need is more followers, aggressive sales tactics, and high ticket closing strategies, which is absolutely not true. If you guys don't know who I am, my name is Brent Chavasol. I am the founder and CEO of Longevity Physique Group, and I have been online coaching for the past 6 years, and I have done well over $1.5 million in fitness sales to this point. So, most people think that this is the way to get sales. More followers, more aggressive tactics, more high ticket closing strategies. And that is absolutely not true. And the reason I'm saying this is most coaching businesses fail because there is no real system behind the client experience. So, after the client actually signs up, not before they sign up, after they sign up, that is what's going to actually build your business. No structure, no consistency, no philosophy. So essentially when somebody comes on, they get a different experience than someone else. And if this is the occurrence, then you're not going to understand why people stay, why people leave. So we need to have data to support these decisions, which leads to, again, poor adherence, low retention, inconsistent results, weak referrals, and constant client turnover, which is exactly what is going to hold you stagnant in the exact same place. If you lose clients and then you bring new ones in, you're just going to replace the ones that you lose. We want to build. So the reason that my business scaled to over $1.5 million in sales was not because I had some crazy marketing strategy. I literally just did what worked and then I showed it off. That's it. So I built a coaching system focused on behavior change, sustainable execution, accountability, communication, and long-term client success. Because these things is what actually gets somebody to stay. And if somebody stays and we can continue to add clients on top of each other, that's when a business actually grows. Not when we just continue to make sales and then we lose clients. We don't want to have that happen. So today, I'm going to walk you guys through the flow and the philosophy behind how I got really good client retention and built my business and had a lot of sales and a lot of success to this point. So the consultation process. I do not believe in high ticket closing strategies in fitness sales. And the reason I'm saying this is because it's not about pressuring someone. It's not about manipulating their urgency, handling objections aggressively, or forcing a decision. What it's about is consulting with the person, diagnosing what the pain is, establishing the route to get to where they want to be, identifying that gap, and then just simply explaining the solution to that person. And the truth is that person already knows these things. They should train, they should eat better, they should be more consistent. But the real issue for most people that want a fitness coach is going to be they're stressed out, they're overwhelmed, they have up and down emotional patterns, they have a lack of structure, unrealistic expectations, or they are all or nothing. They're either like, I'm going to be the best fitness person in the world, I'm going to be super fit, or they're out on the weekend, they're drinking their face off, and they completely lost track of what their goals really are. So my objective during a consultation is simple. Identify what's actually keeping the person stuck. Is it they like to go out? Is it they are too busy because of their job? Are they stressed out? What is it exactly that is the problem? Because essentially, when people come on a call, normally they don't really know what the problem is. And if this person can establish what the problem is, and I can help them establish what the problem is, then they feel understood, they feel clear on the problem, and they feel confident in the solution because me and them were the people who came up with what the problem really is. So if we can identify that together, they will trust that I have that solution for them. And that is typically the way that it goes. So good sales does not feel like pressure. It feels like clarity. It feels like, wow, somebody finally understands where I'm at. The onboarding experience is next up. And this is where coaches lose people immediately. And I say this to every single one of the mentees that I have. I say, if people sign up and they pay you, and then they don't hear from you for 3 days, they already decided, number one, they're not going to refer anyone to you. Number two, that when their term finishes, they're done. They've already had a bad experience. Right there. That's it. So most onboarding systems are generic, they're overwhelming, they're impersonal, and they're poorly structured. No one has any idea what's going on. Clients will receive a PDF, a meal plan, macros, and a login. Woohoo! That doesn't help really anyone. So they're expected to just magically succeed. That's not an onboarding process. They should have confidence, simplicity, structure, and buy-in immediately upon putting that processing that payment, signing their contract. They should be like, okay, I know what the next steps are. Most clients already feel behind, frustrated, and overwhelmed. So instead of making them feel that way more, we focus on simplifying the execution of everything. So they should feel this finally feels realistic. They should be like, wow, someone understands me. This feels realistic now. And to be totally honest, confused clients never execute. Clear clients and people who have clarity execute their plan because they know exactly where they're going. Okay? Building a system that fits real life is going to be a huge thing. This is one of the biggest differences in my coaching philosophy compared to many, many other coaches. And most coaching programs are built around perfect conditions, motivation, intensity, and unrealistic routines. And that's not to say that most coaches don't know what they're doing. It is to say that if you live in an enormously fitness-heavy life and you coach someone who doesn't or doesn't have the time to do that, your routine is probably unrealistic for that individual. And you need to actually reconcile with that. You have to realize that, and you have to give them a plan that fits their life. It's not about you, it's about them. So real life does not work like that. People have all these things. They have careers, they have stress, they have children, travel, busy schedules, emotional fatigue. Instead of thinking, what is going to give this person the best, most fastest results? What's going to be the most optimal plan? Let's actually look at what can this person realistically sustain? And within this confinement, how can they continue to make progress? That's it. Because at the end of the day, most people that sign up with you aren't trying to be Arnold Schwarzenegger. They don't want to be a top level Olympian. They don't want to compete at something in the highest level. They just want to perform better. They want to feel better. They want to look better. They want to be more confident. They want more respect. They want more energy. And that's not that difficult to actually achieve because they don't need to train in an unrealistic way. They don't need to eat some crazy 6-meal-a-day meal plan. They can actually do a lot of things that are incredibly sustainable, that is going to have a huge impact on their life. So the thing that changes everything is because sustainable execution beats long-term perfection. So the system becomes flexible nutrition if it needs to be. Adaptable training, because sometimes they'll be in a hotel gym, sometimes they won't, sometimes they'll be in a commercial gym, sometimes they're at a private gym. We need to be able to adapt to the circumstance that the person's in. If it's lifestyle coaching, it's not always going to be perfect. Baseline standards, if that person can't get this meal in, how can we replace that and actually continue to make progress? Realistic expectations, routines that survive stressful weeks is one of the biggest things here. How can we go back to a minimum effective dose, the minimum effective standard, and be like, okay, if you do this, you're at least going to maintain where you're at. You may not have huge progressions this week, but we certainly don't want to go backwards. The best plan is not the most advanced one. It's the one that someone can follow consistently. Consistency is everything when it comes to being a coach. Accountability and behavior change. This is where coaching matters the most. It's not in the programming. It's in the behavior change. It's in the accountability. It's in the identity shift. So most coaches think accountability means checking in all the time, reviewing weight updates, and asking whether clients follow the plan. That is surface level as fuck, and it's not going to help them. Real coaching requires understanding behavioral patterns, self-sabotage, emotional eating, inconsistency triggers, stress response, and mindset patterns. These things matter way fucking more than whether the client followed the plan. If the client didn't follow the plan, this was one of the problems. And this is what the root issue is. This is what we have to solve for. Because fat loss is rarely just a nutrition problem. It's a behavior problem. And that is so valid. It's not like, I didn't follow the plan because this fucking ice cream jumped in my mouth. The ice cream didn't jump in your mouth. Your behavior led you to eating the ice cream. What was the behavior problem? What led to that? What was the trigger that caused you to eat the ice cream? That's where coaching really comes in. Okay? Behavior change requires awareness, structure, support, standards, and consistent communication with each individual client. And if you're not prepared to fulfill that, you're not prepared to coach. Anyone can stay consistent when life feels easy. The real value of coaching shows up during difficult weeks. Because if you sign a client and they say, oh, now is not really a great time to start. Perfect. That's great. If right now is not a perfect time to start, then this is going to show us exactly what the minimum effective standard is going to be. And then when life gets easier, then you'll make progress like crazy because it'll be so easy. Okay? Coaching matters most when people feel like quitting, because people that are signing up for lifestyle coaching are not people who are bodybuilders. They don't just this isn't just their lifestyle, okay? This isn't their life. So when they feel like quitting, because they're going to be like, damn, this is kind of hard. Because the reality is yes, that's going to require some sacrifice. So you as a coach need to go back to these things every time someone feels like quitting. What is the behavioral pattern? Why are they feeling this way right now? Why are they self-sabotaging this weekend? What is the emotional eating? What is causing the emotional eating? What is the inconsistency trigger here? Did they have a hard day at work? Did they fight with their wife? Did they fight with their husband? Are their kids driving them crazy? What's causing them to do these irrational decisions, okay, that don't line up with their goal? We need to establish that, and then we can fix it when we know the root issue. Communication and client experience is going to be the next one. This is where most overlooked aspects of retention. Clients don't just want information. They don't want education. They don't even normally want to understand what's on their plan. They just want to feel supported, understood, guided, and cared about by the person who is coaching them and controlling the food that goes in their mouth and the exercise that they're doing, because they want a real relationship with you. Most coaches become robotic, transactional, disconnected, and slow to respond. That's going to destroy trust, because when you're in a consultation with someone and you're like, yes, I care about you. Yes, I care about you. Yes, I care about you. And then you stop answering them. Why would they trust you? So if you sign somebody up, you need to continue to communicate with them, set the standard in the beginning, and then fulfill on that role the whole time, okay? So I built my coaching around communication speed, personalized support, real conversations, and consistency in client care, because that is the most important thing when somebody signs up and trusts you with their health and fitness. People stay where they feel supported, and trust is one of the most valuable assets in coaching. People don't stay because of information, they stay because they trust you, okay? Retention and long-term growth. Most coaches obsess over getting more clients, which makes sense because you want to make more money if you don't know how to keep the ones you have. I became obsessed with keeping my clients and keeping the ones that I have happy, because that creates income stability, referrals, reputation, long-term growth, and scalability. And that's why I've made so much money in the fitness industry. It's not because I'm always signing new people. It's because I continue to re-sign the people that trust me right now. Most coaches or most clients leave because coaching feels unsustainable. Expectations weren't clear. They stop progressing, or they no longer feel supported. So my focus became in my coaching, how do I keep my clients progressing long enough to truly change their lives? Not just get them from A to B, but how to get them from A to Z. And A to Z probably could take the next 10 years. So progression creates retention, and retention creates business growth. The money made in coaching is not made through acquisition. It is made through retention and then scaling. Results, referrals, and business growth. When clients get results, feel supported, trust the process, and stay consistent, they talk about how awesome the experience is. That creates referrals, social proof, authority, and sustainable growth. That is how businesses scale long term. If you see any big brands, why are they growing? Not just because their marketing is excellent, it's because people talk about the brand. They say, oh, that's excellent. And then their friend buys it, then their friend buys it, then their friend buys it, and then next thing you know, you have $1 million business. Not from fake urgency or pressure tactics. That's probably the worst way to get clients. It's not going to work. It's 2026 and people have seen too much of it. But from outcomes, relationship, trust, and reputation. And that is the philosophy that built my business. And this goes right back to me talking about my sales call structure and saying that you should not do high ticket closing strategies. Instead, you should consult with the person, establish what the gap is, give them a realistic solution, and say, I can do this for you if you want this. This is what the cost is going to be. Do you really want to fix this problem? Yes or no? And more than likely, if the client feels understood, they're going to say, yes, I do. I need this problem fixed. Please let me sign up with you. And I say, okay, sounds good. Here's a payment link. Done deal. Okay, final takeaway. Most coaches are trying to sound smarter, overcomplicate coaching for sales, and chase short-term growth. Sound smarter and overcomplicate coaching are probably the two things that is going to wreck your business, because if you try to use your big ego and be like, oh, this and this and that, try to talk over somebody, they're going to be like, fuck you. They're not going to want to work with you. So if you overcomplicate your coaching, it's the same thing. It's like, oh, you have no idea what you're doing, but here's this program that has all these different tempo fucking variables and 15 different meal options. And what? That person can never stick to this. Give them something they can stick to. Give them something that's sustainable, and then they're going to love it. They're going to stick with it. They're going to progress, and they're going to tell all their friends how you made their life so much easier. And then next thing you know, woohoo, we have 15 new clients that just want to join because you were the person who finally made that person's life feel actually good, and you actually gave that person a way to progress when they've never experienced that. They're going to be pumped, okay? The best coaching systems are usually simple, sustainable, structured, and more humane. And here's the thing. When I send a program to someone, it is literally so fucking simple looking. It's literally their name, supplements, nutrition, nighttime supplements, training plan. That's it. That's all that's on the plan. If there's someone who's super busy, I'll put some lifestyle variables at the very bottom. But if you have an app, for example, nothing is in the same place. And I have nothing against you using an app. With that being said, I do everything on Google Docs, incredibly simple outline of exactly what this person should be doing. Everybody who gets my programs loves it because it's so simple. And the simplicity of the outline of the program is psychologically makes this person think that the process is going to be simpler because the plan itself looks simple. And don't ask me, too many details about the psychology behind this, but it looks simple. So then they think that it's simple, and then it is simple because they believe it's going to be simple. So instead of making things super fucking complicated, do this. Make it simple. That's what creates better client results, stronger retention, more referrals, and long-term business, actual sustainable growth. Okay? The best coaching businesses are built on trust, systems, and accountability, and real results, not for sales and pressure. If you're a coach and you want to improve your client retention, create better client results, build stronger client acquisition systems so that you can scale after you retain, and scale your coaching business sustainably without being super fucking stressed out, message me LPC on Instagram, drop a comment LPC, or just reach out to my number 902-754-2922. Tell me what your problem is and I will fix it. Okay? Well, I may be able to fix it depending on where you're at. But I will help you identify what is the missing piece, what's the missing puzzle piece in your process. Because right now, if you are stuck somewhere between $1,000 and $7,000 or $8,000 a month, you have proof of concept, you know what you're doing, but there's something that's broken in your model, and you are the exact type of person that can help out, okay? So keep that in mind. Send me a message if you need some help. And for now, guys, I am out. Again, my name is Brent Chabasel. I'm the founder and CEO of Longevity Physique Group. I have done well over $1.5 million in fitness sales, and I am here to help you guys out. So if you guys need anything, send me a message.